Time now to picture this, where we choose a great photo and pinpoint and point out all of the cool weather features that you may not see at first glance. And today's shot from Kendall, Florida may be one of the best examples of a lot of weather phenomenon that any of us in the room have ever seen. So Bill, thanks for taking this photo. That's part one. Part two, let's go through some of the stuff that we know is happening just by looking at this photo. We know that in order to have clouds here, and including the ones off in the distance, which are just further away from the camera, they're not actually lower down, are in rising air. And then you got blue sky in between, that's in sinking air, both at the top of the photo and right there in the middle. So this is a bit of a gravity wave setup where you have cloud, then a space, then a cloud, then a space. Yet that's not the only thing happening. At the top of these clouds, look at this. You see these waves? That's what it looks like, right? Waves of cloud. That's called the Kelvin-Helmholtz instability. And that happens in a stable air mass, which a gravity wave would be, when you have fast winds moving on top of the cloud and slower winds in the same direction underneath, turning the whole thing over almost as if it is a wave in the ocean, which is an unbelievable sight, especially considering this was in Florida, so you absolutely could have seen actual waves along with the cloud waves at the same time.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
The definition in that picture is incredible.
Right?
It really is.
It's just perfect. I kind of want to make it my phone background or something at this point. And we're going to continue to hear from you guys. It's time to sound off, where you send in your questions and even your images, and we get to talk about them. Ryan, what do you got?
All right, this image is awesome. As soon as I saw it, we had to get it on.
Yes.
So this Twitter follower has no idea what this is, and you kind of lose a little definition of it, but it's a circle.
It's a hole punch cloud, right?
It's a Fall Streak hole.
Yeah, and so that kind of darker image, that's got to be a shadow, because the sun, it's the sun setting, so the fall streak is actually, so the ice crystals that are falling out of that hole are then projecting a shadow onto the rest of the cloud deck.
Right.
Which is awesome.
And that happens when an airplane flies through the cloud deck and disturbs those particles, essentially.
So those clouds are basically all made of ice and maybe a little bit of water droplets, and the plane comes through and converts all of it to snow. It starts to fall out. You're left with a hole in the cloud and a shadow in this case, which I don't think I've ever seen before.
And if you want to learn more about those, you can go to our website, weatherunderground.com. And look at some of the Wonder posters. That's actually one of the Wonder posters, so you can go check that out too. And then we have a bunch of tweets coming in about people reacting to our segment about the cruise ship.
Okay.
So those will just kind of come up, and
Don says, the cruise line didn't know the storm would be that bad. People have been honking the strength of that system for days.
Yeah.
We agree.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say in their defense is that there was some uncertainty about the strength of the storm for a while, in that the GFS model wasn't quite as ambitious about it. The European model was really gung-ho, and the European model, as we all know, is sort of like E.F. Hutton. When it talks, we listen. So, I think you have to go with the sort of worst case, as we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
If there's a model saying there's going to be a heck of a storm out there, you should probably assume that that could be the case.
And I think we've got another comment about that same topic coming in. So let's read a couple of these. Let's see. Alan says, I'm guessing the cruise ships have a meteorologist on board. If not, they should. I think I'll apply. I used to be a USAF weatherman. Alan, I think there's a job description waiting for you. How about this one? Mike says, spectacular conversation going on about the Anthem of the Seas situation on Woo TV right now. Well done, Weather Channel. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
That's awesome.
And if not
there's a lot to analyze.
If there's not a meteorologist on board, I'm sure they've got a center.
Yes.
Right. There's a consultant somewhere, a meteorologist, I mean,
that last person that we talked to is right. They would never willingly put their ship into that dangerous situation. Yet, we don't know how they missed that dangerous situation, and that's really where the question
And
comes.
as you pointed out, we don't know what they feel comfortable with, because those ships are very big and they can handle a lot. So maybe it's that they thought, well, it's not going to last that long, or we can get through it, or something like that. We don't know any of that, any of those details. But the fact that they're putting it all in the forecast, that's the issue on our end, essentially.
Yeah, because that also has a broader impact too. Every time something happens, it's the same thing when we see these headlines without warning, or we didn't know it was coming. We didn't know it was going to be that bad. Well, you go against everything that we try to do every single day here, which is to give you the best information possible to help you make important, informed decisions to keep you safe. And so when you go back on the forecast and say, well, we didn't know it was happening, there's actually 4 days ago, the National Weather Service said you are going to have 25 to 30 foot seas. So that can't be it. Now, maybe localized, the conditions were worse in some respect. Maybe they mean in the winds. And like you said, I don't know what they typically can sail in. So that. I am ignorant of that. But, you know, you got to be careful when you just throw it on the forecast like that.
And by the way, didn't we just see that on a national newscast? There was a headline that said without
more about
warning
it as the show goes on.
right before the tornado outbreak.
You're stealing my thunder.
Sorry.
We do have one sounding off question that is not cruise related.
Can we try to get to it? There we go.
do it.
James says, what is the temperature outlook for the eastern in the next 3 weeks? Will the cold lock in?
I think it's going to be locked in for the Northeast for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think after that, maybe some wiggle room, but, you know.
March comes in like a lion, leaves like a lamb. We're going to see some big-time changes
We're
by
really
March. We always
hoping
do.
the pattern flattens out because March, you know, oftentimes with El Nino, it's sort of back-end loaded where you get a lot of your precip in March, and so we're really crossing our fingers for that. Yeah.
And of course, right now we've got another storm system coming, including to Baltimore. You might be in the bullseye. Winter storm warnings are in